and he died because he was struck in the head by an airplane. Hey everyone, this is Toya back here with another interesting, or what I think is interesting, maybe you don't, story on some information I learned from DNA, the Ancestry DNA website. So recently I just returned from Washington, D.C. I flew up there to meet my beautiful friend, Angie. She was there on a work trip, and I myself wanted to meet her so we could go to the African American Museum and, some other museums. And, I've been, in this country my entire life, and I've never been to DC. So I flew up alone, which was truly a courageous thing for me because I'm fearful of flying. And I haven't flown since 2020, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. I navigated the airport perfectly. I got off. I got to the hotel perfectly. So it all went very smooth. The entire trip went smoothly, and then I returned home smoothly. Everything went well. So, I'm just so proud of myself. But in my research, I learned that I had a great grandfather who passed away in the early 30s, and he died because he was struck in the head by an airplane. And that was so surprising to me because I never knew this information. The article reads something like aged Negro killed by airplane. His name was Watt Greathouse, and there were a group of spectators standing around an airplane watching the airplane take off. And for some reason, my great grandfather was so close to the airplane that when the airplane rose into the air, it struck him in the head so hard it killed him on the spot. The spectators were black and white, and people were asking me, like, what was your grandfather doing that close to an airplane in the early 1930s? I have no clue, but it made me wonder if maybe that's where I have this inherent fear of airplanes, and I didn't know. Now, some of you may think that's kind of funny, but it is really my fear of airplanes is, I think it's almost irrational. But I will do them. I don't love it. I had an experience traveling from Cleveland back to Florida one time with, I guess, turbulence or an air pocket, and it felt like the plane was about to fall from the sky. And that scared me so much that it took me from 2015 to 2020 to get back on a plane. I've never been one to fly much anyway. I flew previously as a child, and I thought it was amazing because I didn't know you could die. And then when I got older, I'm like, what? Planes crash? And when I learned that planes could crash at age 17, I never, ever flew again until like 2006. Yeah, it just kind of made me wonder, is that why I have this inherent fear of flying? But after my last couple of flights, I actually don't feel the same way anymore. I've watched a lot of videos on takeoffs, landing, and explaining turbulence and air pockets. So even though, when I was on the plane this time, the plane dipped a little bit, and I was like, huh. And like, what was I gonna do? Like, I'm reaching to nothing. But for a quick second, I'm like, huh. It's a reflex. But yeah, my last couple of flights, they were very smooth. I flew into Aruba. Aruba is very windy, so I expected a very bumpy landing. I don't recall it being any more bumpy than any other landing. And when we took off, I don't recall it being any more rough than any takeoff. It was completely fine. Flying over the ocean was stunning, and it was just a very smooth flight. So I'm okay to fly again, but I just thought that was really something. When I saw that, I'm like, wow, I cannot believe this is the way he died. Some people think it was intentional, but I don't. Reading the article, there was a group of spectators, and Unfortunately, he just so happened to be the one that was struck in the head. I don't know how or why, and I really don't know why they were that close to an airplane taking off anyway. He was 75 years of age, and when he passed away, my grandmother was only 7. So she, I think, had a very rough start in life as a result of her father being taken away so violently. Even though he was up there in age, he still might have had more time in him. I don't think he was sick or anything. It was just like he was there one day and then he wasn't. So anyway, if you haven't researched your family records in Ancestry and you're interested in doing so, I strongly encourage you to do it, because it is you discover some of the most fascinating information. And this particular article was pulled from a newspaper website. One of my relatives, I don't know him, but he actually downloaded the document to Ancestry, and that's how I was able to receive a copy of it. So you don't necessarily have to pay for these other things. If you pay for a subscription on Ancestry, you're able to see other people's items that they've saved, and you can actually save it to your own account or download it to your own computer. That way you have access to it in the future. But it is really interesting. So if you're interested in researching your family, I strongly encourage you to do so, because it's just wonderful putting the puzzle pieces together and just figuring out the past, or trying to figure out the past. Anyway, thank you for watching.